Okay, so today we are going to learn about, click this, contour, which we've talked about before, and we've been using contour line, so you should be familiar with it. Gesture, which you probably haven't heard before, and shading the form. The past few activities you should have been practicing shading forms like spheres and cubes and cones. So now we're going to apply all of that knowledge to and practice to this activity. So this is just a completed figure drawing based on the mannequins that you're going to be copying. So this is what one of yours should look like. The other two will look less complete, and so I'll explain that. So find a new page in your sketchbook, and I'll explain what gesture means. So gesture lines and gesture drawing just means capturing the gesture of a figure. So when I say gesture, I mean the movement, right? Like right now, what I'm doing, this is a gesture. Like everything that I'm doing right now is a gesture. So if I'm throwing a ball, like if you're drawing me throwing a ball, you want to capture the liveliness of as if I were just about to throw the ball, or I had just let go of the ball, and that tension and like excitement of the body moving is in that image. So what you're going to copy are still images of mannequins. They're clearly not moving, but imagine they had just gotten up, or are about to run, or are falling down. So you want to capture, or twirling like a ballerina. So we're going to capture their movement today in our gesture drawing. So this is where stick figures come in. Everyone says that, you know, I can't draw, I can hardly even draw a stick figure. Stick figures are important, okay? So don't minimize their capabilities. So you're going to take, you're going to do 3 drawings, and each drawing is going to take 1 page. So start with your first drawing. We're just going to use simple lines to capture the movement of this figure that is on my screen right now. I'm going to draw a simple circle for the head, but before I do, I want to just make a point for like where I'm starting my figure, okay? And then eventually I'll make a point for where I'm ending my figure. And so after I map out those points, then I can start to add more detail. So this is my head. Okay, my head's going to end here. This is the size of my head. Then the neck is here. The shoulders are here. Now, when you're drawing any parts of the body, you want to recognize where one point is in relation to another point. So take your pencil and go on your screen and see where the shoulder blades are in relation to each other. Are they about even? I think these ones are a little bit offset. So this shoulder blade is just slightly higher than this one. So that's where I'm going to mark my points. This one's going to be down here. The body of my figure is going like this in space. It's going diagonal. So I'm going to draw a line, a little curved line to demonstrate that. Okay, and I'm going to make them darker just so you can see them better. So that's my head. This is my gesture line, my shoulders, and my torso. Then I'm going to get to the pelvis area. This is where the body kind of splits in half, and I want to make sure that I have enough space down here for the rest of my body, but looks like I might not. So I'm going to move it up a little bit, and I have to find an eraser somewhere. Okay, 1 second. So I'm going to raise this up just a little bit. I'm going to raise my shoulders up a little. So notice how I'm editing my drawing, so you should too if you run into the same issue. I'm going to raise my shoulders up. My torso will end around here, and my legs will, you have to take your pencil again, And you can't see me doing it on my screen, but I'm taking my pencil and lining it up with my the left thigh. So it's about that angle. I'm going to make a line like that. The right thigh is gone this way. Okay, so my stick figure already has some life to it. And my left leg is going at the opposite angle, downward. And notice how my knees, you want to measure where the knees are in relation to each other. This one's higher, this one's lower. And then this calf, where's this calf ending? Now, because of the foreshortening, and we talked about what foreshortening means, this leg, even though the legs are the same size, the left leg, or the right leg on this figure, is going to be shorter in this drawing because it's going back in space, whereas this one is coming toward us, so it's going to be a little bit longer, or this is like kind of head on, we're looking at this. So that's why our points will be lower here and also higher here, so it's shorter. And then where are my feet going to go? This foot is going to be here, and the point's going to be there. This foot starts higher and is a little bit higher than this foot. So again, my points are not lining up. This one's higher, this one's lower. Now let's go to the arms. The shoulder blades are circular, almost the same height. This arm is going to be, they're going to be about at the same length because one is going back and one is going forward. So they're kind of both losing the same amount of dimension in their perspective. So this, and then this one comes forward like that. It's bending in, and the hand, where does the hand end? The hand actually ends by the kneecap, so that means I have to make some of my lines longer. I think the elbow has to come down, and this arm has to be longer, and then my hand is like that. And then this arm ending about the same place, intersecting my thigh in the center, and the hand also touches the other thigh. Okay, so that's where I'm putting my points. So this is in no way completed, but I want you to do this when you're starting out. Now, after you've done that, we can start to develop our drawing. So all three of your drawings should start out like this, okay? And so when I say gesture lines, this is what I mean. These lines are quick, they're very lively rather than a contour line, which is what I'm going to do now. These contour lines are going to be very static and refined. Notice how now it's a lot darker, and now I'm going to erase the lines that I don't need. My gesture lines were also very light. My contour lines will be a little bit darker. I'm thinking that I have to change this contour line to go up. And so I even want you paying attention to the most minute details of this figure. Like this is the important part. Like drawing the lines, the contour lines within this form, which help create the three-dimensionality when you start to shade. So I'm going to, before I start shading, just finish the whole body, which is how I want you to do it. I want you to work on this as a whole drawing rather than each part as its own part. Like put all your details in here, move on, put all your details in here. I don't want you to do that. I want you to work on it as a whole drawing, increasing the detail. Increasing the detail all at the same time. So what I'm drawing right now is the top of the shoulder plane. Like all of our body parts are three-dimensional. This is a plane, right? This is a flat part of our body. It goes out like this, and then our arm is another plane. But our arm also has, 3 dimensions, so it has many different sides to it, which is what we're going to include in our drawing. And the arm, you want to give it some shape. Try to get those cylinders accurate. Make sure the tops and bottoms of them are curved to emphasize their 3-dimensional form. Some of these shapes will be challenging. They are challenging. So please just be patient with yourself and practice. As always, I'm never going to grade your artistic ability. I'm always going to grade your effort in trying, and I want to see these lines. I want to see you, obviously when you erase them, I won't see them, but I think that it will be evident that you used gesture lines based on your drawings. So keep that in mind. And again, if you're unsure of the way a line is moving, just hold your pencil up to it. Literally put it on the screen of your computer and hold it up against the edge of it and see which way it's going. What angle is that line at? And as I'm going, I'm adjusting some of the positions of my figure. And parts of my figure will overlap, and so I have to erase some of my lines so that it looks convincing. Overlapping means dimension. Okay? Overlapping is like something is in front of something, which communicates 3 dimensions. And these hands, this one's turned upward. So if you look at all of the photos of the figures that I have on there, you'll see the different positions of the form and see how it moves in space, which will give you a better idea and prepare you better to draw it accurately. So I feel like my proportions are off. I think I have to raise this up. I'm going to erase this because I'm comparing my elbow with where the pelvis of my figure should be. This pelvis it's a little bit farther from my arm, the way I'm drawing it. It's all the way down this way. And I hope this is helpful to see me kind of messing up and editing, because we all do it. Every great artist, and I'm not saying I'm a great artist, but every trained and practiced artist does this. They work out issues and they practice and get things wrong and then fix it, and so this is a good thing. This shoulder has to be bigger. And as I finalize my lines, like if I decide this line is good, I'm going to keep it here, I can make them darker. I can start to make them a little darker. Not too dark, because eventually, if you pick a drawing to shade, you don't want all of your lines to be super dark, because it will just look like an animated figure with shading inside of it. I'm also making my lines a little bit darker so that you can see it better on the video. And I even want you to draw those little seemingly unimportant lines that mark the edges of the forms, right? So just this little lip here, that's lighter in color than and in value than this, and this crease here, little circle. And you do not have to draw the hand that is in, sorry, my video keeps pausing. You do not have to draw the hand in the reference photo. That is my own. Leave that out. Just draw the form, the figure that you see. Notice how the heel of the foot is behind the ankle, because there's more foot behind there. Okay, then the thigh. I think this thigh has to come out a little bit. Okay, so these are the bones of a drawing, of a shaded, eventually to be shaded drawing, which you choose to do after you draw all three of your figures. So I'm gonna draw both other two, and you can stop the video whenever you want, whenever you feel comfortable. I'm just gonna keep going and just show you all of the different positions that might be more challenging. Which one looks more fun? I think I like this one. This one's pretty challenging, I feel, because the head is like back that way. So, just sneeze. Okay. So now, this is important. Because the body is at an angle, the points with which the body will fit into, or in which the body will fit into, will be at an angle as well. So your head is not going to be in the center, because if you put the head in the center, your feet will be probably off the page. So you have to think about those things. What is the furthest point of your figure? Probably over here, where the arm will be. The head will be this way. So I'm going to draw my circle for my head again. And we'll, get to the nitty-gritty stuff later. My shoulders will be, one is higher and one is lower. My torso angled this way. My leg angled down and down. Again, keep in mind those points. Where are my knees located? How much of my leg am I seeing? Is it foreshortened? This foot is going to end all the way up here. So these are my feet points. My arms will be this way. And then these are foreshortened arms. So, which means some of them, the way we're seeing it in perspective is shorter than how we would see it if it was fully extended. Okay, just like if I'm holding my arm like this, you're seeing a lot less of my arm than if I were holding it like this. And then this arm's this way and this way. And the hand is, actually I think the hand starts over here. And this short part right here is the arm. And the the shoulder. Shoulder's up here. Torso. Now I'm going to start to draw the forms of my my figure. So again, fill up your whole page with your figure. It's a challenge. It definitely is a challenge to draw large, but it actually is easier in the long run. Like your drawings will come out better if you draw larger. You don't want to draw your figure like really tiny over here. It's not going to be good. So make sure you draw large. And the more you do this, the better you will get at it. I'm not saying you'll become an expert after 3 drawings, but you will for sure start to feel it become easier the more you do it. So that's why I want you to draw 3 of them rather than just 1, because you'll become more comfortable as you go. And if you want to draw more than 3, earn that extra point, I would be so happy to see that. Even just drawing the second one, I already feel more confident in like my initial drawing, which says a lot. Like it means something that we need to warm up when we draw. Like warming up is an important part about drawing. And I'm using I forgot to mention this, but I'm using my my 6B pencil. So that's why my lines are so dark. So you're encouraged to use it. If you happen to use another one, if you like a different one better, feel free to use those. Notice how these limbs are not just cylinders, but they have shape to them. Like they have wider tops and thinner bottoms. Like by the knee it's wider, and then it gets thinner by the ankle. So even when I'm making my contour lines to build the figure up, you'll see that I'm like, you know how we worked on the feather and we found the line? Like we made little lines to make sure that we were getting the shape correctly. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm making lighter lines. I'm finding the form, finding the shape that I want, and then I'm erasing the lines that I don't need. And that is the best way to find your lines, to find the form, the accurate form that you're drawing. This is a little bit complicated, this foot, because you're seeing the bottom of the foot, but also a little bit of the top. So you want to be careful when you draw it. Okay. think that's good. And then my third one will be, did I even draw the head? No, I didn't finish the head though. I'll just do some quick little lines here. And this. So again, if I choose to develop that one, which actually, you know what, I'm just going to do this one. I'm going to stop here. Even though I want you to do 3, I'm just going to stop at 2 and show you how to shade this figure. So there are no parts that are bright white, so I'm going to shade the whole figure really, really lightly with my pencil. Really lightly. So that all my figure has some sort of gray scale, gray on it. And when you're shading anything, any drawing, painting, it is best to include a full range of value. And when I say that, I mean all of the grays, as dark as black and as light as white. You don't want to leave, you don't want to make your drawing just black and white. You want multiple levels of those 2 colors. All of the grays in the middle. Okay, so now I'm going to find the darkest parts of my drawing and I'm going to shade them in. So I see shadows under here. And I'm not going to start off by shading them really dark yet, but I'm just going to point them out and make them obvious to me. Oh, I didn't shade this arm. I'm just shading this arm. Okay, so it's darker over here. And just think back to when we did the hand, when we drew our own hands. We want to shade the whole figure. Which parts are really, really dark? The creases between the limbs. This whole forearm is darker. It looks like it's getting different light. This whole bottom of the hand is very dark. Very dark. Probably the darkest part of, besides for the creases, the drawing. This is very dark, this line right here. This circle has some shading under here. We want to make it look rounded. This is darker than the rest of that shape because it's angled down, it's not getting as much light. And if you're ever worried about smudging your drawing with your hand, which happens often, you can take a paper towel or a piece of paper and put it under your hand when you're drawing and shading, because it does get messy. I'm just finding areas where I'm a little off and editing them. And you will do that. You will find places that look off and you won't know why. And you can ask me or a friend why it looks off, and maybe we'll be able to help you. Sometimes a fresh pair of eyes is all you need. Because these are three-dimensional and they're moving back in space, like as those cylindrical forms, they have darker edges because the light is hitting the front, but not as much on the sides to us. I'm going to make this darker now. Click on the head. This is the darkest part of my head. And this is darker on the edge. And the middle part is the lightest angle. And these creases are very prominent. Under here. You can see how this moves. These angles really show you the shape of the form. Under here, it is very dark because you're seeing the underside of that torso. And this whole thigh is just slightly darker than that other thigh. And the edge is darker even more. And this edge is darker. Here. And this whole foot is darker than the leg that it's attached to, because it's angled differently. And this leg, the shadow on the bottom, but not so much on the top because it's getting hit by light. And the circle's darker, and this foot is almost as dark as this, I would say. So I'm going to shade this whole thing. Bottom of the foot is darker. I'll shade this shape darker. And this is darker. So you don't have to go over your lines and make them all darker. Again, that kind of takes away from the 3D illusion. But I just decided I wanted to. Then when you're finished, you're going to clean up the edges of your drawing. Make sure there's nothing distracting you from the figure or taking away from it. And I feel like this is pretty much done. I'm not asking for like a photorealistic image, meaning it looks like a photograph, but I want you to just practice shading these forms and giving your figure just some dimension. Alright, so good luck. Let me know if you have questions, of course. And thanks for watching.